let's go back to the biometrics. Obviously this has an identical, selfie camera like the outside display. And the Z Fold 5, despite having a bad camera, unlocks pretty fast. But I do think the face unlock on this phone right here is better than the Z Fold 5s. But they both work well despite having this bad camera. Alright, so let's do a speaker comparison.
You might be wondering what's a Nextdoor 360 and how does it work. The Nextdoor 360 is a laptop device, aka a portable monitor with PC peripherals. A keyboard 360 is a laptop device, aka a portable monitor with PC peripheral and a trackpad. It resembles a traditional.
The OnePlus is a little bit more crisp and a little bit more fuller in the sound. I think it's the additional speaker that it has. It has 3 speakers instead of 2. Both of them are super loud and they both have Dolby Atmos. So if you turn that off, it might sound a little bit different. You can tweak the settings, all that stuff. OnePlus Open is a better phone for speakers and playing stuff out loud. So now let's talk about the software. The basic software is the home screen. So, swipe. This is what it looks like when you swipe. Basically the same animation. You could have the Google page on either one. For the bar of apps at the bottom, you can have up to 8 apps. On the Z Fold 5, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then on the OnePlus Open, you can only have 4 apps, and then it shows you recent apps. You cannot change that, you cannot increase it. And then for the Z Fold 5, you go into an app and have the taskbar. It shows you all 8 apps plus your app drawer, and then 4 recent apps. OnePlus Open in an app, just the 4 apps, your app drawer, recent files, and 3 recent apps. So different takes. I like that you can have more on the Z Fold 5. I like the recent files on this. Okay, let's talk about home screen editing. So on the Z Fold 5, you can go into this mode and, check your wallpapers, themes, widgets, settings. When you go to widgets on the Z Fold 5, you can drag and drop. Use your other finger to move it. And that's it. It will put the widget on the screen and you can't do anything else. But on the OnePlus Open, you go into an actual editing mode. So when you place something on the OnePlus Open, it will place and then you're still in editing mode, so then you can do other stuff like move around your apps or app pairs. You can select all of them and move them and easily drop them between different screens because it's so zoomed out. Whereas on the Z Fold 5, you can select apps, which I really enjoy, and move them very easily compared to some of the other phones like the Pixels. But after you do one action, it goes out of this editing mode. It doesn't have a dedicated mode like the OnePlus does, where you can continue editing. Like, look, move this to the bottom, and I'm still in editing mode. On the Z Fold 5, I move something, that's that. I can resize it, but I can't do anything else. It takes me out of that mode and back in the normal type mode. So that's something I like in the OnePlus. So next in the software, let's look at the app drawers. So this is pretty normal, kind of like the Pixels type app drawer. You can sort it by name, by usage, stuff like that. You can select the apps and add them to your home screen or uninstall, which I really like. I love when phones give you the ability to do things in bulk. If you're somebody like me who's constantly adding apps, deleting apps, rearranging your home screen, different things, you appreciate these kind of features. So I like that, and that's basically it. Then you can press and hold the side to look through your apps by the first letter. Z Fold 5, this is one of the only Android phones and phones in general that allows you to customize your app drawer to a good amount. Like, you can create folders. Normally I have this more clean, but because I'm switching so much between different phones, I got lazy and I left it like this. But you can create folders. You can adjust the color of the folders if you want, or even make it completely transparent. So watch, boom. You can move around the apps. You can have it automatically sort them, alphabetical order, stuff like that. And then there's different settings for the app tree. And the pages swipe horizontally versus vertical, like a typical Android phone. And then the search bar at the top on both of them. And yeah, honestly, it depends on what you like. I think being able to create folders and organize my apps, move them around in my app drawer, is pretty nice and helps you to be organized. But it's not a crazy feature. And then also you can see the difference in the animation. So this one kind of like, it looks like that, and then the OnePlus Open, is like this. I like the animation for this one better. but this is also not bad. It's quicker, I guess. So next in the software, we're going to talk about quick toggles. So I appreciate how the OnePlus Open kind of fills up the space a little bit more. It feels more tablet-esque. This is not bad though at all. And the thing about Z Fold 5 is that you can customize almost everything. So basically everything about this, like the colors and stuff like that, you can customize all that to make it fit whatever theme or aesthetic you're going for, like down to like the meticulous things, like the little color inside of the icons, the accent colors. Like you can go crazy with the customization on the Fold 5. But yeah, so this is the basic philosophy for each of them. Then you swipe down for more and they become like this. So I appreciate the aesthetic of this. I think the OnePlus Open aesthetic looks really clean and nice. I like the time off to the left, and just the overall look is clean. I like it better than the Z Fold 5s. But the Z Fold 5s, like I said, you can customize a lot. And then I'm pretty sure with the next update of One UI, it will look more like this. But yeah, that's the difference in that. The brightness to always be there as well, which I really like. Pixel phones cannot do that. Now let's look at the settings app. You've probably seen it multiple times in these comparisons, but let's go to settings. I like how clean this looks. I feel like this is a better layout, the OnePlus Open. Just how, like, you know, different sections, things that relate to each other and stuff like that. The aesthetic is more my style, I feel like. The Z Fold 5 is not bad at all, but for like people who are not used to Samsung phones and customization and all the features, it can be overwhelming for them. So this is how the Z Fold 5 looks in the settings app versus the OnePlus Open. And then another thing to note again with the Z Fold 5, you can customize the settings app. So mine is actually customized. I put certain things where I want, like all these different categories of options in the settings app. You can move them up or down. You see these lines dividing them, like the different groups. You can put different things in different areas. So the way I organize it is like things that I use often, things that I need to access often. I have them in the top group. So you can customize the settings app with Z Fold 5 with good luck. So that is tough. That's the settings app. So now next I'll talk about one hand mode. So this is something that I feel like is important and should be on all phones. I like how Nothing added that to the Nothing Phone 1 from here and enters one-handed mode. The OnePlus Open can only do one-handed mode on the outside screen. So if I go swipe at the bottom, it's the same kind of one-handed mode. So this is one area where the Z Fold 5 just instantly slaps and is way better in my opinion. One-handed mode on the Galaxy devices is just tough. Like swipe down, now it's in one-handed mode and I can literally access this big inside display with one thumb. And if it's too big, I can adjust it and make it smaller. So now I can reach the top of the screen all with one thumb very easily. I can move this to the other side and expand it if I want. Like I can do literally everything on the phone in one-handed mode. It doesn't go away until I tap an outside area of one-handed mode. So clean. Z Fold 5 does it the best. Galaxy devices do one-handed mode the best in my opinion, and you can do it on both screens. This can only do on the outside. I already talked a little bit about full screen apps and how it works. Both these devices can force all apps to full screen, but only the Z Fold 5 can force all apps to rotate horizontally in landscape. Customization, I'm not going to go too much into it, but basically anything you see on the Galaxy Z Fold 5 you can customize. Like you can go crazy with it, customize how it looks, the colors, and there's so many different things you can do. Like the app switcher, the Z Fold 5 app switcher on the inside is not like this, or even the outside, it's not like this normally, but I always put it to this because I feel like this makes the most sense on this big screen. And then I don't mind it on the outside screen either. I feel like it's fine, easy to reach everything, and you can see everything too. The way that the OnePlus does the app switcher, I think it works fine, and it's basically what I want on the Z Fold 5. This has better animations with it, so yeah, that's the difference there. But customization, hands down, this is Galaxy devices are the most customizable phones, period. Like you can go crazy with them, do so much. This app called Good Lock, you can like customize the phone down to everything, bro. Like down to the share manager. Like when you press share on the app or on the folder or something like that, you can customize how it pops up and how it looks, what it shows first for the recommendations. Like small things like that. Like the Galaxy, it just goes crazy. With the OnePlus Open, there is a good amount of customization, like more than most other Android phones, especially Pixels. Like you can customize your wallpaper, fonts, your icons. Those are basic things. And then the always on display customization is really good too. It competes with the Samsungs, but Again, Samsung is just crazy. With good luck, you can literally have apps and widgets on your always on display. Like currently I have my calendar widget in my always on display. Super tough. I wish it was a bigger area, but that's so cool that I can add widgets to it. And you can add multiple widgets and stuff like that, but the area is small anyways. But this one's cool too. You can add photos, you can customize a lot of things where you're always on display. Some other things, you can customize the edge lighting, which the Z Fold 5 also has, and it can do it more extensively. Both of these are cool customization, but Z Fold 5 is the ultimate customizable foldable phone out there. And not to mention 2 separate home screens. Like that's just a major bonus for a foldable phone, because you're not using both screens the same way, right? So when I'm using the outside screen, I want it a certain way. Quick things. When I'm using the inside, I want it a certain way. Customization even goes into this, your volume control. So one thing I really love about Galaxy phones is that you can control the volume by app, like you would on like a Windows computer, for example. So like I can tap this and now I can adjust YouTube's volume. If I'm playing a game, I can adjust the app volume for that game specifically. And like I can kind of mix it. So I'm playing music on a different app, I can adjust the game volume to be a little bit lower, music app to be a little bit higher, while still having my main volume for everything at a certain level. And I can lower that if I need to, and everything will still be kind of mixed, whereas the game is in the background, the music is in the foreground. Like, tough. That is such a good feature for me, and I really enjoy it. And yeah, something that I use often. And then you have the whole menu. You can pull up sound assistant, customize everything, or you can choose to connect to Bluetooth for audio, or you can switch to your phone speakers with that button. And then you can also access the equalizer, and it will pop up like this. You can quickly, do your thing, and like that's just really cool. Like let's say you're watching a movie, you want to switch it, you can do that. Listening to music, switch it, boom. That's how the volume toggle works on the Z Fold 5. So now the OnePlus Open, you press the button, obviously it comes up like that, and then you can press the dots to expand it, and it's just your basic toggles, the notification, your ring, your alarm, and then you can also turn on the closed caption. Same with the Z Fold 5. I just wish that like for both of these it would be easier to pop up the menu like without pressing the button. That's something I really appreciate about iPhones. Swipe down, adjust the volume without having to press the button. Pressing the button for volume can be annoying sometimes, and it's not as precise as it is like sliding with a visual thing. So notifications, both these phones do their thing. The OnePlus Open kind of expands naturally and splits it up with silent notifications at the bottom, then regular ones here, and it has your basic things like you can react, you can respond, you can swipe to dismiss, and then it has the clear all at the bottom, whereas the Z Fold 5 is a little button right there. One thing I really love about the Z Fold 5 and Galaxy devices in general is how you can tap, hold, and drag the app into split screen in any orientation or into floating windows. Often if I'm playing a game or I'm doing something productive, somebody messages me, I'll tap and hold and drag that messaging app into a floating window like this, type up my message or my response, and then I'll minimize the app so it's there and I can keep responding, going back and forth. It doesn't matter what app it is, you can force it into floating windows and it works proper. So I use that very often. I get an email, I need to look at it, open it in floating windows, deal with it while still having what I'm doing running in the background. It doesn't get affected at all. You can toggle on the Z Fold 5 as well to keep floating windows always open, so no matter what you do, if you swipe home, they'll always be open, and you can keep them all in focus. You can also organize like different categories on the Z Fold 5 as well. But yeah, that's how notifications work on both of these. Now let's look at the animation a little bit more closely. So just opening the app from the taskbar or the home screen. For the Z Fold 5, it's kind of like it just expands out of it. And then when you swipe back to home, the app icon kind of follows and goes back in. That's pretty cool. From a widget, it's the same kind of idea, but it's a little fast. And then I would slow it down a little bit to make it smoother, add a little bit more frames. And then with this, so I like how smooth this is, but when it first started, that was kind of weird. Let me just close all the apps on the Z Fold 5. So it's the same thing on the Z Fold 5. It starts with the icon, then it pops into the app. I feel like that's not smooth on either one of them, but that OnePlus's animation for this is a lot smoother to me, especially the way the taskbar comes up versus the Z Fold 5. It goes down. I feel like Samsung is kind of prioritizing speed, whereas OnePlus is prioritizing aesthetic. Then for, let's see, a widget. So opening the widget on the OnePlus just opens the app. It doesn't do an animation, and it doesn't swipe out into the widget like it does on the Z Fold 5. On the OnePlus, you tap that widget, it opens the app, swipe out, it goes back into the app instead of the widget. So that's something that Samsung does better with the animations than the OnePlus Open. Very nice and smooth. Back into the widget. This one just opens the app, it doesn't go back to the widget. We already saw the app tray animation, but here it is, a little bit zoomed up for both of them. Different philosophies. Again, I like how smooth the OnePlus is. And then notification shade. OnePlus animations are just clean. And then a side note, one feature that I really like on the OnePlus is being able to expand your folders, and then you can swipe to see different pages. I really like that. That's a feature that I enjoyed on my Nothing phones, being able to expand your folders, and then you can open the apps from the folders without opening the folders. Like, to me, that's just very value. Folders, they pop up like this. You could customize how the folders work as well, so you can make them pop up kind of similar to how the OnePlus does the app tray. Just imagine folders popping up like that, but a little bit smaller, and then you can swipe through exactly like this in that smaller box. So that's cool. That makes it not take up the whole screen. Then on the Z Fold 5, you can customize the color of the folders or the opacity like I showed earlier. So flex mode, basically on the Z Fold 5, flex mode works with any app. So it forces it into this kind of setup right here. The bottom half becomes a touchpad, and it works really smoothly. It's basically like a trackpad on a laptop. You can do all the gestures, zoom in and stuff like that. A really nice little feature right here. Tap and hold. You can bring down the notification shade with that button, take a screenshot, enter split screen, turn off the trackpad as well. And then you can also bring up your volume slider, which is really nice, brightness slider, and then enter the settings. Really good integration right here with the software, and like just allowing any app to work with flex mode. I think it's pretty cool. Then you can minimize it if you want to get rid of it. Tap this again to bring it back. It's just super tough. And then another thing with this flex mode panel is that when you go into media, smartly brings up your media controls. So now with the OnePlus Open, it can also do, you know, a flex mode type thing, but I think the apps have to support it. So for the OnePlus Open, YouTube obviously has this. This is just something that Google added. It works on most foldable phones. And then you can have your keyboard like a mini laptop, but it's not that good of an experience because you put the phone at a certain angle and it snaps back, so you might as well just hold the phone. It's really only good at 90 degrees, and even then, if you move it too much, it might eventually fall back because of the way that this hinge is made. Flex mode on this, amazing. If you have it like this with the camera on the bottom, then it can go into you know, better angles without the phone falling over. Now let's talk about refresh rate. So both of these phones have LTPO displays, and you know, the refresh rate can go up or down depending on what's on the screen. You can see the Z Fold 5 going to 24 to save energy and power, battery life. The OnePlus Open is chilled in here, but yeah, both of them have that 120 hertz at the max. But with the OnePlus Open, I noticed when you're in the adaptive mode, it goes to 60 very frequently on like a lot of apps, whereas the Z Fold 5, it will stay at 120 hertz when you're actually, you know, doing something. And I feel like that's useful. For example, I go into Notion, Z Fold 5 is still at 120, and it slows down when you're not doing anything. But on the OnePlus Open, I go into Notion, boom, 60. It doesn't go up, it stays at 60 the whole time. And it's not just Notion, it's so many other apps. Okay, so a good example is like shopping apps. So Kijiji 60, Best Buy goes into 60, and it, like I said, it just stays at 60. It doesn't go up and it doesn't go down. Walmart 60. All these apps go into 60 hertz, and it's just a slower experience, and it takes you out of the smoothness of 120 hertz in my opinion. Best Buy on the Z Fold 5, I don't even need to show you all of them. But all these apps that I'm showing you here, they work at 120 hertz and go down when you're not using it on the Z Fold 5. It's just a smoother experience, feels more fast, fluid than this. 1 minute it's 120 hertz, the next minute it's literally 60 hertz the whole time you're in the app, you know. So that's something that I gotta mention. Some people might love the extra bright display for the OnePlus Open, but at nighttime it's super bright and it doesn't have an extra dim mode on this phone. So Z Fold 5 has a decently bright screen, but at nighttime you might want it to be a little bit darker than the lowest setting. Z Fold 5 has an extra dim mode. I'll turn it on, extra dim, so you can make it darker than the lowest setting. OnePlus Open does not have that, and I hate using this phone at nighttime, to be honest. Like, if it's nighttime, I'm put this phone down, I'm gonna use something else. That's just how it is. No extra dim on this phone. Auto brightness works basically the same for both these phones. I don't really have much of a complaint. Phones that I've had issues with auto brightness are like the Pixel series, like Pixel 4, Pixel 7, Pixel 6. Just not good at auto brightness, but these phones are fine. Power button customization. So Z Fold 5, you can customize things that what happens when you hold the button. So if I hold it, I set it to take a screenshot. I just like being able to take a screenshot quickly. Then you can set it to do different things when you double tap. So I can open the app, work. Right now it's defaulted to camera. I leave that for most of my phones, you know, double tap to open the camera quickly. OnePlus Open also has a little bit of customization with that, but not nearly as much. So OnePlus Open can only open the camera when you double tap the power button. And then if you press and hold, you can either have the power menu or Google Assistant. Very limited compared to the Z Fold 5, where you can open almost anything and do different actions like take a screenshot, that which I just showed you. So screen switching is also another topic. So when you're in the app, you can choose how the phone reacts when you switch to the smaller screen. So as you saw with the OnePlus phone, it basically does what the Oppo phones do. You close it and then you can swipe up to continue using the app, or it will just stay off. Versus the Galaxy, you don't really have that option, but you have the option of making it transition to the smaller app instead of locking the phone. Or you can turn that off for both of them and the phone will just lock when you close it. And then you can also, on both of them, open up the phone and it will continue using the app, which obviously makes sense, right? Because you mainly want to use a big screen. So there's that. So lock screens, basically with the OnePlus, there's not too much customization for the lock screen. You can't tap in and, you know, edit the lock screen. And then you also have like no options for these quick toggles at the bottom, whereas on the Z Fold 5 you can pretty much put like any app on the lock screen to, you know, quickly access them. I have mine right here. I can set my phone to do not disturb from the lock screen with the opening the device. And you also have a widget page on the lock screen as well. You can customize this. I barely use this, if I'm being honest, but yeah, there's that. And then when you tap and hold, you can edit your lock screen, you know, the text, different things. You can go further in Good Lock and put like actual widgets on your lock screen to interact with them. And as you can see, I also have a video playing here. Alright, so next let's talk about camera features. Both these phones have your basics like photo, video, obviously, portrait, pro mode. So you can manually control the things like shutter speed, ISO, the focus, white balance, stuff like that. Z Fold 5 has a pro video mode where you can control all those same things, but in video a lot of Android phones don't have that, even though they have pro photo. Then there's panorama, and both of these phones can do that. They have night mode as well. So some of the differences, the OnePlus Open has something called movie mode, where it's basically a pro mode, but then you can also shoot log, which is really cool for, you know, somebody who's very serious about color grading their videos and they want the most detail and stuff like that. Log is sick. You know, dual video mode, where you can shoot with both cameras at the same time. That is really cool. Z Fold 5 also has something similar, director's view, and basically uses all the cameras at the same time. There's slow-mo. Z Fold 5 has portrait video. I don't see portrait video here. There's a food mode. I don't use that. Hyperlapse, time-lapse, I don't use that. There's a expert raw. So expert raw is really cool because it takes the pro mode further and allows you to do so much more in terms of like photography. Like, I'm not even gonna go through it, that's a whole video in itself. But yeah, you can go crazy with this camera on this phone and other Galaxy devices. But both of them have a lot of features in terms of cameras and everything you need to kind of create content or just get the right shot in most scenarios. Like, you can customize everything that you need. That's why I think when people say this camera is not good, it's not true. This camera on the Z Fold 5 is amazing. It can hang with the best of the best because of all these extra features that it has. And you can even do a little bit more depending on the situation, like if I need to prop it up or something like that, you know. Same with the OnePlus. I do think the OnePlus's camera, I like the colors more out of the OnePlus and the way that it handles HDR. Obviously the selfie cameras are better than the Z Fold 5's inner selfie camera. The other one is in the same field. Okay, so special features for each of these phones. Right off the bat, the OnePlus Open has its canvas mode, jumping between apps, and you can have all the apps in full screen. So it has that. And then another feature that isn't really talked about is that you can customize the status bar up here, so you can choose to show different information. Z Fold 5 can also do that, but like this is in the normal settings that you can just customize that. Another feature that I really think is cool on the OnePlus Open is quick return. So instead of just a back swipe, you can swipe and hold and it will go back to your last apps that you were using, kind of like swiping at the bottom here. But like, it's pretty seamless, you know. If you do it by accident, you can cancel it, go back here. This is something I also like about the software. It kind of gives you hints without being intrusive, so that's sick. The recent files, you can pop this up, access your recent files, and also drag and drop them in apps that support that. That is cool, and it's not intrusive. I like how it's its own little bubble. Then you got screen off gestures. So when the OnePlus Open screen is off on the outside display, unfortunately not on the inside display, you can open different apps. Another unfortunate thing is that it has to unlock the phone. Obviously that makes sense, but it just kind of gets in the way if the phone can't see your face, but you can just put your thumb on, right? So I have it set to open Google Chrome if I do that gesture, and then if I do a W, it will open up Notion, I believe, for work. W for work. Then if I do an M, it will open up Google Maps, so M for Maps. I think that's a pretty cool feature. Then it has air gestures, which in my experience don't work too well, but I'll show you. You basically put your hand in front of the camera a certain way, and then you do the air gestures, but it doesn't work that well in my experience. Maybe I'm just bad at it. Another cool feature is lift to answer. So when you get a phone call, you can literally just lift the phone to your ear and it will answer automatically. Seamless, nice, I like that. Screenshot gestures, I already showed that, but tap and hold. Then you can take a screenshot with like a different aspect ratio and customize what kind of screenshot you want to take, like that, and edit it, draw and stuff like that. And then you have just a normal screenshot, so you can swipe down with 3 fingers. Really good gestures, I like that. Stylus support for both screens. So they don't sell the stylus in North America or anywhere outside of like Oppo regions, because it's not really a OnePlus stylus. It's an Oppo stylus that was made for the Oppo Find N2 that also works on the 3 and this phone. But if you get your hands on that, it will work. I don't know the capabilities of that stylus, but I'm pretty sure it's not as good as the S Pen. The S Pen is a top tier stylus. Like, it's as good as the Apple Pencil 2. It's good for professional work in terms of like its sensitivity, its tilt features, and it has like the most features out of any stylus for mobile phones and tablets. And another special feature for the OnePlus Open is the gaming mode. Basically, you can turn this phone up to like peak performance while you're in games for the whole time basically. And then it has like other things that you can do, like screenshots, check your FPS, quickly respond to things, customize how, you know, notifications show up, etc. Gaming mode is nice on this phone, and that's why I said this phone is the better phone when it comes to gaming. So now let's talk about special features for the Z Fold 5. I already talked about customization, so there's that. And then another thing is modes and routines. One thing I love modes and routines for is like I set a routine for these widgets. So basically now I can make my phone rotate just by pressing this on my home screen, and then I turn it off when I need to. I can enter extra dim, turn it off, do not disturb, I'll have one for YouTube Music where it opens it and it plays random music. Modes and routines is nice. You can do like literally so many crazy things. You can have one command and then it will set off so many different things on your phone. An example, if I open an app at a certain time, that can trigger modes and routine to do something automatically. I don't even have to press anything. If I put my phone on the charger past 9 o'clock, it will go into do not disturb automatically if I set that mode and routine. So there's so many different things you can do with it. Those are just some examples. The next thing is Samsung DeX. Samsung DeX basically displays a PC-like experience on an external monitor. I have a video about Samsung DeX. You can click the link right here and check it out. I already talked about the S Pen, one of the best styluses for any phone or tablet. It's just really good. So another thing I want to highlight about the Z Fold 5 is that all the features work on both screens. So like when you have the swipe gestures to enter split screen or dragging from the top to enter floating windows, those features work on both screens, whereas the OnePlus Open has some features that just don't work on the inside screen. Like for example, this feature right here, where you can draw on the outside screen to open different apps or do different things. Not all features work on both screens, whereas with the Z Fold 5, basically every feature works except for like the S Pen. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is battery life. So I think both of these phones are pretty similar when it comes to battery life. The OnePlus Open has a bigger battery, slightly bigger battery, and yeah, they honestly last me around the same amount of time, especially if I'm being super productive, video editing or something like that. Then they'll both have a very similar battery life for my personal use case. But I think for your average person, because the OnePlus Open has a bigger battery, it will last you a little bit longer. The Z Fold 5 maxes out at 25 watts for charging speeds, whereas the OnePlus Open maxes out at 65 watts, and it comes with that charger in the box. So this can charge from 0 to 100% in like 40 minutes. This takes about an hour and 20 minutes. So clearly battery life and charging speeds go to the OnePlus Open. There's no doubt about that. Wireless charging, the OnePlus Open does not have that. So Z Fold 5 can make use of various different wireless chargers and even MagSafe if you use MagSafe ring on the back. Alright, so the next thing I want to go over was USB-C accessories. So both these phones have USB-C, of course, and I believe they're both 3.0. But a lot of phones, even though they have USB-C, they are not compatible with a lot of accessories, or they just don't work well. It's not like something that the developers or the creators of these phones prioritize in terms of like coding and stuff like that. They have USB-C ports that can work with a lot of different accessories, like external mics, but the developers of the software did not, put it into the code to work with USB-C mics in the camera app, which is a very basic feature that a lot of other devices and phones have coded in. So it depends on what each company prioritizes for their devices in terms of like coding and making it compatible. So we're gonna test some things out. Some of them are more obvious and of course they'll just work, but let's see what happens. The reason why this is important to me is because with the Z Fold 5 or Samsung devices in general, I find that they usually just work with external SSDs and hard drives, whereas with other phones I have so many issues connecting external hard drives and SSDs and things like that. Phones telling me that I need to reformat it, whereas with my Samsung devices and phones, they just read everything and it works really well. I can transfer files on and off. So let's see, Z Fold 5 USB-C storage added. I can go to that, open it up, and all the files are here that's on the storage, and then I can also choose to transfer them off or even write to the SSD. So yeah, I already know it works. I just want to show it in the video. And now I'm gonna eject it, unmount, plug it out, there you go. And now let's try it with the OnePlus Open. So this is my first time actually trying this, so let's see what happens. And there you go. So the OnePlus Open kind of opens up the Files app for you, and it shows you this little summary right here. This is pretty cool. I like this interface, and I like that it opens up. So all the files are here. So what I'm going to do now is try to transfer something off. Copy to the device storage, copy to download, paste here. Let's view it. There you go. The video is here, and I can open that, and it works. So the OnePlus Open can obviously work with external hard drives, SSDs, and things like that. So now when you're ejecting, you can just tap to remove it safely, and I assume it worked, and I can just plug it out. There you go. So next I want to try the USB-C game controller, and we'll test Minecraft with both of them. Obviously this is probably going to work, but let's just try it out. And with both of these phones, I have to take off the case in order to make it work. The controller right away is powered up, you can see with the light. So I'm just I can navigate. You see the little highlight box going around, and then I can press A to enter, I believe. Okay, it's not doing anything. So I'm gonna go into Minecraft real quick. As expected, the controller works, but as you can see, the OnePlus Open is locking at 60 FPS or 60 Hertz again, even in a game like Minecraft. So that's something to note, and it's kind of annoying because this phone is capable of so much more, obviously. But yeah, it works well. And now we'll switch to the Z Fold 5, even though I know it works, just to show you on video. It's super dark, but it works on the Z Fold 5 just like it did on the OnePlus Open. So there's that. I believe I have the controls reversed. Oh, this is thing 2. RIP. Next we'll try headphones with a USB-C dongle. Should work, of course, but let's just try it out for the video. So it's working on the Z Fold 5. Working. The next thing we're going to try is the Nextdock 360 to see if the OnePlus Open supports external monitor support. The Z Fold 5 we already know supports that. It has Samsung DeX and it works well. So let's just see what the OnePlus Open is saying in that regard. So it has its own, lock screen right here. Alright, so yeah, we see it mirrors and touch input works from the Nextdock, which is pretty cool. It's acting kind of strange though, because I rotated the phone. Okay, when it's like this, it works normally. There's a bit of delay, but anyways, let's open YouTube and see if it will full screen the video if I put it on. Rotates, and it doesn't take up the whole space, so it's literally just mirroring this square right here. The fact that it has display out is pretty cool. But real quick, I'll just show you the Z Fold 5 with Samsung DeX. This, in my opinion, sets this device apart from a lot of devices, because look, I plug it in, it becomes a little PC-like interface where I can actually get real work done. I can video edit, I can edit photos, I can work on documents, I can use web apps with the web browser. So there's a lot of things you can do, and it's very smooth. Like, there's almost like no delay when I'm using this touchscreen on the Z Fold 5, and all the gestures work the same as it would on the phone. And then I can use a keyboard and mouse and do all that stuff. So yeah, man, Samsung DeX, the Z Fold 5, this is the future right here. The next USB-C thing I want to try out is a USB-C hub right here. So I'm just going to plug it into the OnePlus Open, then it lights up. Then I'm going to connect the same SSD that I did before, but through the USB hub, and let's see if it shows up. Okay, so it works exactly the same through the USB hub. So you can use this to connect a bunch of different accessories, and then same thing, USB-C USB storage added, and all the files are here. I can do everything that I need to do with this, so that's cool. The last thing that I want to test out is using a USB mic. Like I mentioned earlier, some phones just don't have external mic support, even though they're capable of having that with the USB ports that they have. So I just want to test it out on the OnePlus Open. I know that it works on the Z Fold 5, but yeah, so let's do that. So I'm actually gonna take out the mic that I'm using on my iPhone right here to record this video, and I'm gonna plug it into the OnePlus Open. Okay, so the iPhone doesn't have the mic anymore, and the mic is here, so let's test it out. Okay, so mic is lit up. I'm showing you with the OnePlus Open, and this is how it sounds with the mic. Then I'm gonna record without the mic and see if there's a difference. Okay, so this is without the mic, seeing if there's a difference and if it worked. So as you can see, external mic support works on the OnePlus Open, and that's good news for people who are content creators, people who like to record video and stuff like that, or just record audio. Using an external mic is just better than the built-in mic on the phone. So it's good that they put down the software to allow it to work. But that basically concludes this full comprehensive comparison between the Z Fold 5 and the OnePlus Open. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below on which one you think is better, which one has more useful features, and just how they stack up against each other. I know that some people might prefer the one-handability of the Z Fold 5. Some people might prefer the bigger outside screen because it's comfortable for them to type or whatever. But in my opinion, it comes down to the software, and that's how I will make my decision with what device I like to use the most. So yeah, I think both of these phones are great in all the areas. I feel like neither one of them lacks in a really major way where you wouldn't have a good time using this phone. I think both of them are really good phones at the top of the food chain, in my opinion, when it comes to just a phone overall. Like not even just foldable phones, I think they're great phones in general. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. But that is it for now, and we out. Peace.